Gospel reading, what do we see? We see lots of different things. The first thing we see that I want to draw your attention to is that Jesus was tired and thirsty. This was not an ethereal being with no body. God, but also human. He was tired and he was thirsty. Then he did the most improbable thing. He asked a woman to give him a drink. God asked a woman to give him a drink. The humility again of God. The woman was amazed, first, that a Jew should speak to her, and second, should ask for a drink. The Jews had nothing to do with the Samaritans, and the Samaritans likewise hated the Jews. So Jesus surprises her by saying, if you only knew who was asking you for a drink. Then, of course, she wriggles. She decides to throw in a theological question. When we start talking to people about Jesus, about the faith, about life after death, about the kingdom of heaven, people wriggle. Ah, yes, well, one says one thing and one says another, why should I believe you? They wriggle again. I know full well that this is the true religion. You say yours is the true religion. And she goes on wriggling and wriggling and wriggling until Jesus then comes straight to the point. Go and fetch your husband. Straight to the nitty-gritty. He knew that the man she was now living with was not her husband. She'd tried 5 husbands, and the man she was with now was not her husband. So what does Jesus do? Does he condemn her and send her away? No. He explains to her, well, not explains, but says to her, I can give you living water. Living water. She doesn't understand, of course. So she tries another theological nicety about the Messiah. The Samaritans, like the Jews, were looking for the Messiah, the one who would come into the world to save the world. She throws in another theological question. You say you must worship God on this mountain. We say you should worship him on this mountain. Who's right? Jesus doesn't say, well, of course we are right, it's this mountain. No. He says the time will come when, because the Holy Spirit comes, you will not worship God on this mountain or on that mountain, but you shall worship God in spirit and in truth. In spirit and in truth. The essence of our Orthodox faith is that we worship God in spirit and in truth. So what does she do then? Typical woman. She goes back and spreads it all over the village. And they listen to her, because she says, this man, by Jacob's well, must told me everything about myself. Everything. And so they decide they'll come and have a look. And eventually they come to realize that Jesus is who he says he is. And they then begin to worship. Not because of what she said, but because they've heard him speak for themselves. Then the disciples arrive. They're absolutely gobsmacked that a Jew, Jesus, should be speaking first to a Samaritan, that vile race of Samaritans, and secondly, not only to a Samaritan, but a woman. In the culture of those days, a Samaritan was slightly worse than a woman. But a woman was only slightly worse than a camel. So much we find out in the Bible about what the culture was like in those days when Jesus came to earth and walked about among us. So what was Jesus' attitude? I'm thirsty, give me a drink. He ignored the fact, first, that she was a woman, and second, that she was a Samaritan. These racist and misogynist things had no part in his being, no part at all, because he loved the Jews, the Samaritans, and even women. So when we try to follow Jesus, what must we be like? Must we condemn everybody who's not like us? No, we mustn't. When we look about us in church, we know very well that everybody here loves God. Therefore, we love each other. But when you go through the door, what happens then? Do you scurry into your own little hole and forget all that's happened in the last 2 hours in church? Or, this is a novel idea. The first person you meet, you say, "Good morning." Some will be shocked if you do. How do you choose to say good morning? How would you choose? Well, he's not going to reply, he's a Muslim. She's not going to reply, her skirts are too short. He's not going to reply except to say, "Can you give me the cost of a cup of tea?" Are we selective? We should, in actual fact, be able to say to absolutely anybody at all, "Good morning." They may say to us, "How come you're being so cheerful?" Then you've got the opportunity to say, "I have been with Jesus this morning." That'll really upset them. They'll be sending for the white van. Dare we say, dare we even speak to people? Or should we, that lovely saying, keep ourselves to ourselves, keep our heads below the parapet? If we keep ourselves to ourselves, what would it have been like if the disciples had kept themselves to themselves and just have been content to be martyred when it came to it, but not say anything to anybody about why? Why am I happy? I cringe sometimes when I hear people saying that. And I'm a Christian. Ish. we should be prepared to say, I am a Christian. I love God.